welcome to this channel once again. My name is Azariah, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to configure the access port and a trunk port in the Cisco Packet Tracer lab. So this is our diagram. As you can see here, two switches. So we have to configure a trunk port on here, and with the workstation or end devices, we configure an access port together. So without wasting much time, let's begin with our first configuration. Okay, let's begin with our configuration. With the diagram we see on the screen, our first question says we should configure the interfaces connected to PCs as access ports in the correct VLAN. So let's move to switch 1 and start with the configuration. So enable conf-t the interface range. Since there are two places connected to switch 1, interface range path O/1-2 switch ports mode access, then switch ports access VLAN 10. So you see automatically the switch created a VLAN for us, as you can see here. Now let's do same to interface range path O3-4 switch ports mode access, then switch access VLAN 30. Okay, so that's all for switch 1. Let's move to switch 2. Switch 2, enable to move from user exit mode to privilege exit mode. From privilege exit mode, to type conf-t to global configuration mode. Let's first configure the interface VLAN 20. So interface path O1 switch ports mode access, then switch ports access VLAN 20. And remember, we are not to configure a VLAN 20 on switch 1 since there's no physical interface connecting switch 1, so there's no need to configure VLAN 20 on switch 1. So we configure that on switch 2. Now let's configure VLAN 10 connecting to switch 2. So interface range path O2-3 switch port mode access, then switch access VLAN 10. Okay, so let's do some show commands here. Do show VLAN brief. So as you can see here, we've successfully assigned our modes and switch ports to the correct interfaces. Now, question 2. We are to configure the connection between switch 2 and switch 1 as a trunk, allowing only the necessary VLANs. Configure an unsaved VLAN as the native VLAN, and we should make sure all necessary VLANs exist on each switch. So I move back to switch 1. So it's connected on the interface J01. So switch ports mode trunk, and then switch ports trunk allowed VLAN 10,30, and then switch ports trunk native VLAN should be anything unsaved. So here you can decide to use any number of your choice, but I decide to use 65. Okay, that's all for switch 1. Moving on to switch 2, repeat the same configuration here. So interface J01, switch port mode trunk, and then switch port trunk, allowed VLAN, then -30, then switch trunk native VLAN 65. Okay, so let's do some show commands here. Do show VLAN brief. So we can see here as well, we've assigned a VLAN to the respective interfaces. Now question 3 says we should configure the connection between switch 2 and switch 1 using router on a stick. Assign the last usable address of each subnet to R1 sub interfaces. So first, let's configure from switch 2 to switch the R1. So I start from switch 2, the interface J02, switch port mode trunk, then switch trunk, allowed all VLANs 10, 20, 30. Okay, so that's all for switch 2. Now let's move to R1. And please don't forget, all routers are administratively down by default, so you have to turn them on. So configure terminals, then interface G00, no shutdown. Then now let's move from interface G00. Let's create a sub interface for them. So encapsulation .1q for VLAN 10. So IP add. You have to use the last usable address for each VLAN. So here I use 10.0.0.62, subnet mask 255.255.255.192, then interface G0.20 for subnets of VLAN 20, then encapsulation .1q VLAN 20, then IP add 10.0.0.126, subnet mask 255.255.255.192, and then lastly VLAN 30 for encapsulation .1q VLAN 30, IP address 10.0.0.190, subnet mask 255.255.255.192, and this .192 is a /26, the dotted form. So we are done assigning the sub interfaces on our routers. Now let's do some show command to see if they are all the rightful IP addresses. So show IP interface brief. Okay, so we can see here our sub interfaces has been created successfully, and the status and protocol is up. Now our last question says we should test connectivity by pinning between pieces. All pieces should be able to reach each other. So let's pin PC1 from VLAN 10. So I pin PC1 3 in VLAN 30, so 10.0.0.129. Okay, so we have to pin from PC1 to VLAN 30 129. Okay, so as you can see here, our packet was successfully sent. Now let's pin from PC1, which is in VLAN 10, to PC5 in VLAN 20, so 10.0.0.65, and this pin should also work perfectly. Okay, so as you can see here, they're successfully pinned. Now let's move to simulation mode and see how the packet is sent. So we'll move back to PC1 and do the pinning again to VLAN 20. Okay, so you can see the packet is from PC1, so it moves to switch 1 and forward the packet to switch 2, and then from switch 2 to router 1, from router 1 to switch 2, and from switch 2 to the VLAN 20, and from VLAN 20 back to switch 2, from switch 2 back to router 1, from router 1 back to switch 2, and switch 2 now sends the packets to switch 1, and then finally to PC1 in VLAN 10, and we should say it was a success. Now let's pin PC4 in VLAN 10 to reach PC3 in VLAN 30.0.0.130, and let's see the simulation mode. You can see the packet is created here, so it sends its packet to switch 2, and switch 2 forwards the frame to all interfaces on the switch. So PC3 discards the packet, router 1 receives the packet, switch 1 receives the packet. Now router 1 sends the packet to switch 2, and from switch 2 to PC4, then it's a success. So this brings us to the end of today's lesson. I hope you liked today's video, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you are new on this channel, and also don't forget to share, like and comment. Thank you for your time. See you next time in our next video. Bye bye.